Hey folks, and welcome back, and in today's video we will look at how we can configure this ESP32 as a wireless voice assistant for our Home Assistant. So we will configure this using ESPHome and then connect it to Home Assistant such that we can invoke Home Assistant devices using the wake word Hey Jarvis. So with this, let's get started. So now for this ESP32 voice assistant that we will be creating, you need to set up the voice assist pipeline. So now there's a video somewhere here wherein I have linked how you can actually set it up using the Home Assistant add-ons, as well as there is yet another video wherein I have shown you how you can set it up using the Docker containers also. Now today, assuming you have set up the entire voice assist pipeline using the YAML protocol, and then you have this pipeline such that you can invoke a command and you can turn on or turn off a particular light. Like for example, if I go to this assist window and I say turn off light, it should actually respond you saying that it's doing some kind of a thing. That means your pipeline has been set up. So this actually turned off an input boolean. So this is one of the entities that I have. So this is just one of the entities that I have so that I can demonstrate how you can turn on or turn off a particular entity or a device using the voice assist feature. So now first what we are going to do is let's look at the pipeline so that you understand the various components that we need. So first of all, let's go to settings here, and I'm going to go to now voice assistants. And here I have this assist pipeline right now, right? So let me open this assist pipeline. So here I have for speech to text, I have whispers. So this is the speech to text component for converting your speech to text so that it can be converted into a command. Then we have the text to speech wherein it converts the output of your command into a voice such that this will be played onto the speaker. Finally, we have the open wake word component here wherein I have set up Hey Jarvis here wherein I'm using Hey Jarvis to invoke the assist pipeline. Now all these three components needs to be set up and this pipeline needs to be ready for this setup to start off. Check out those videos that I've linked here. It's an entire playlist containing the setup for the Docker containers as well as Home Assistant add-ons, as well as all the voice assistant related videos that I have been creating. So that's a series you can check out and get a lot of information from that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to now close this window. I'm going to go back to my overview window. And first thing what we need to do is we're going to prepare our ESP32 device, right? So for this, what we will need is we need to do some circuit connections. So we will need a microphone as well as a speaker. So the speaker component is a little bit optional, meaning if you don't want the output to be sounded onto the speaker, you don't need to connect the speaker. But the most important part is the microphone. So let me show you the circuit diagram for this. So I have this circuit diagram wherein I'm showing you right now this microphone. It's an INMP441. It's an omnidirectional microphone. And this is the connection that I have with my ESP32 dev board. Now this is the audio amplifier Max 98357A, and this is connected to a speaker right now. So this is how actually right now it is connected. I know it's a bit shabby, but it works right now. Now let me explain this with the mappings using a table also. I have this blog here wherein I have written this. I'll put the link to this blog into my description below so that you can refer to all the connections as well as this diagram here. So let me first walk you through all the connections first. So here we have the circuit diagram as well as the various mappings here. So let me show you these one by one. So there are two connections that are common to both of them. So first of all, let's look at this BCLK pin, which is connected to D25, and it is also connected to SCK on the microphone. Similarly, this pink line that you see, it is the WS pin, which is connected to D26, and this D26 is also connected to the LRC pin on the amplifier. Now these are the only two common connections, the rest are separate. Like the D-in pin is now connected to D27 on the ESP32, whereas the input for this, that is the SD pin, it is now connected to D33 over here. Now the various voltages that these two components requires, this one requires 5 volt whereas the microphone requires 3.3 volts. So that's what I've done here. I've connected 3.3 volts to the microphone and the amplifier is connected to the 5 volt one. Along with this, if you see in the microphone section, I have connected the ground pin to the L/R pin here. So this will set into the right mode. I'm talking about the right and left part. So this is the right microphone part. So this I will put it into the blog, and this blog link will be present into the description below. You can refer to this diagram here. Now what we need to do is we need to program this ESP32, right? So for this, what we need is we need ESPHome setup. So if you have not done the ESPHome setup, there's a video linked here wherein I have shown you how you can set up ESPHome, and then also shown you a short tutorial about how you can flash code onto the ESP32. So today we'll be using this, and we will now put in the code required for our ESP32. So first thing what we're going to do is we're going to create a new device here, and I'm going to click on continue, and let's give it a name like voice assistant. I'm going to click on next, and here I'm going to select ESP32 because I have an ESP32 dev board. So let me select that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip this because I need to put in some code here. So now this initial code that you have, I'm going to keep it as is, but I'm going to add my code that I will need to actually create my voice assistant. So let me actually copy and paste this here. So now this code that I have pasted here, let me actually explain it to you one by one what it does. So first of all, we have this microphone section wherein I have set in certain parameters for the microphone. Then I have set up the speaker here. So this is the speaker setup wherein I have connected the D out pin of the speaker to the GPIO 27. Then for the microphone, it is the D in pin, which is the GPIO 33. Then these are the two common ones. That is the two common connections that I had shown you before. Now I have put them also in this comment here so that you can use these comments to actually figure out what is to be connected with. So now this is using the I2S audio interface for the connections. Now this media player I have commented out. I will tell you why. Because this speaker setup that you have, you can also use a media player to play your output. But right now I'm not using it. Then finally we have this voice assistant section. Now in this voice assistant section, I have set up the microphone here as well as a speaker here. So these are the IDs for my microphone, and this is the ID for my speaker that I'm going to use. If I was supposed to use a media player, I would specify the media player and then use this thing. If you want right now, you can completely remove this and this section. You don't need it. Now there were some things that were causing issues when I was doing this setup. So that's the reason why this video came out a little bit later. So there were issues when you were running local voice assistant completely locally using Home Assistant, and there are some of these fixes that have come up over time. So that's the reason my video came a little bit later. I was pretty much using this setup right from the beginning, but there were quite some bugs into this. So first of all, this has been one of the fixes that we need to put in. So this is still coming under the voice assistant section here. So this is one of the sections that you need to have. Now this is one of the fixes that I have done here. This will change once the fixes are out and fixed by the Home Assistant team. So as of now, these are some of the fixes that you will have to use. And when these fixes are being done, I will actually update my blog to reflect this. Also inform you via some short videos on YouTube. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also follow me on Twitter, wherein I will post about in case these fixes have been made. So right now, to get around the problems that we have, we need to add this section here. Now this is yet another fix that we had to add, that is, this makes sure that if the connection with Home Assistant drops, the voice assistant connects back to Home Assistant properly. So there was this ongoing issue wherein after some time the voice assistant would not respond completely. It would completely stop and not work at all. So for that fix, we had to put this section here. Finally, we have this switch. So this switch actually is the use wake word option to turn on and turn off the wake word option that we have. So this is the code that we need to actually put into our ESP32. So this is one of the fixes. So to make sure your connection is stable. Now this is one of the fixes that I have put in, wherein it takes care about this boot loop. When the ESP32 starts up, it goes into this phase wherein it's not able to figure out the wake word. So this is one of the fixes that I have put in, and this will make it more stable. So a lot of these things have been connected together such that it gives you a pleasant experience while working with this voice assistant. And now what we are going to do is we are going to actually flash this code onto our ESP32. So for this, I'm going to click on install and I'm going to click on manual download. So I'm going to download the binary that gets generated as a part of this. While this is being built, I will download the binary that gets generated and then we will flash it using the web.esphome.io site. So let this actually build up the binary. So now it has built the binary. I'm going to select modern format here and I'm going to now save it into my system here. So now the binary is downloaded. Now what I need to do is I need to open web.esphome.io onto a Chrome browser, and I'm going to connect my ESP32 while holding the boot button and then connecting it to my computer. So after clicking on connect, I'm going to select my ESP32. I'm going to click on connect here. Then I'm going to click on install. I'm going to choose the file here that I just downloaded and I'm going to click on open. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on install. So now once it goes into this erasing phase, I'm going to now leave the boot button. So this is how you have to do it with the ESP32. So you have to hold the boot button, click on the install button, and then after that select the binary, and then once it goes into this erasing phase, you can leave the boot button. So let it now actually install. So now the code is flashed onto our ESP32. Now the most interesting thing that we are going to do is connect it to Home Assistant. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect and connect it again, and this will actually now show up into our settings here. So let me go here into devices and services, and right now if you see the voice assistant ESPHome, you can see it is already available here. Now in case if it does not show up, that means there could be two reasons. One is that your Wi-Fi credentials have not been set in ESPHome, and that's the reason it has not connected. So you would probably get to see some kind of a fallback Wi-Fi network. You can check it from your phone. You will find one Wi-Fi which will be related to this ESP32. But if everything was set up in ESPHome properly, you should actually get this thing available here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the simplest method, that is right now click on configure, and I'm going to click on submit here. So now if you see, I hope you can hear this cracking noise right now. So this cracking noise is one of the bugs. So I actually had to stop the video and stop the crackling noise. So how this I had to stop is only via giving a command. So now this is one of the bugs that are still there, wherein this crackling sound comes up only during the first boot. When you are actually connecting this USB to a power supply for the first time, this problem occurs, and the only way to get out of it is right now by giving a command such that it actually responds and it stops the speaker from crackling. So that's what I did right now. I gave it a command and it actually gave an output saying that okay, it performed the command, and then it actually stopped the crackling of the speaker. So this is one of the bugs that I'm trying to see how I can fix it so that you get a pleasant experience when you try to flash this thing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on finish here. So now with this, our ESP32 is actually configured with ESPHome. Now let's see how we can trigger this thing. So let me open this voice assistant here. This is one of the API connection diagnostics that is present here. This is one of the sections that we had added in our YAML code. And here is the use wake word option. So this use wake word option that is there, I can turn it off here, as well as I can turn it back on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a command such that it actually does something. So let me refresh the screen here. So I have this light entity here, and I want to show this to you side by side so you can see what is happening. So now here you can see the ESP32 integration with Home Assistant, and now this is the light switch that I'm going to try to turn it off. So hey Jarvis, turn off the light.
Turned off input boolean.
So as you can see, it actually turned off this particular light switch. Now if you must have heard from the speaker, let me try this again. Hey Jarvis, turn on the light.
Turned on input boolean.
So if you see here, this output is not coming out that real. Why is that? Because of this one of these ongoing issue, which is right now fixed into the dev branch of Home Assistant. Now I was running Home Assistant dev branch and this is verified that this fix has been done. So in the next release, that is the version 2023.12, that is a December version, you will get this fix wherein this crackling issue will be solved. As of now, this issue is there, and that's the reason I actually delayed my video, because I was trying to find out the best optimal solution for you and all the answers for all the bugs. So this is one of the things that we have. So now we saw how we configured this ESP32 with a microphone to work with Home Assistant, and we gave commands using this ESP32. So now there will be a situation wherein some of the things may not be working and you don't know how to debug these things, right? So now I'll be showing you some of the techniques that I used to figure out what went wrong, and then after I communicated with the Home Assistant team such that they also know that some of these issues exist. So let me show you some of these things. So first thing is that in your voice assistant pipeline itself, there's this debug option. So if I go to the voice assistant here, so let me go to settings here and go to voice assistant and open the pipeline here, you have this debug option. So in this debug option, you get to see all the pipelines runs. So it will see when the wake word has been detected, how much time it took for the speech to text, the text to speech, and what the output was, what the input was. Now this is one level of debugging that you can do from the UI itself. Now the other option that is there is that you can see the log of this ESP32 device itself. So for this, what you'll have to do, you'll have to go to ESPHome, and then under this card for your device, click on this log section. So here you will see all the output of this ESP32 device here. So right now it's not able to connect it because it cannot actually try to figure out this voice assistant.local address, and it's failing to connect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually specify the IP address of this device directly into the code. So this is supposed to be put as a manual IP. So right now what I've done is I have manually added this IP here. So this is the actual IP of my ESP32, and I have put it here so that this ESPHome interface can directly now work with this IP to actually put in the code as well as connect to it to show you the logs. So now you can click on install and click on wirelessly, and this will actually compile the code back again and connect to your ESP32 using that IP address and also upload the code. You no longer have to use the web.esphome.io, and any changes that you do, you can just quickly upload it from here and send it to your ESP32. So right now I'm going to stop this and I'm going to go back here and I'm going to click on logs here. So right now this will try to connect to our ESP32. So as you can see, it is actually showing me the output from my ESP32, and this is what the output is right now. So let me try and trigger this ESP32 right now. Hey Jarvis, turn on the light.
Turned on input boolean.
So if you see here, this is the output from the ESP32, wherein the speech to text was started after the wake word was detected, and then after that it actually gave an output response, which is this raw file. So this is the output that was being played onto the speaker, and because it is of the raw type file, this causes problems onto the speaker. So now in the Home Assistant version 2023.12 version, which will be released in another 15 days, this fix will now be an MP3 output such that the output is always going to be MP3 and there will be no issues like this. So this is the other way that you can see the logs of the ESP32. Now there's one thing that I want to mention here is that these options that I put in inside the ESP32 config here, that is stuffs related to the on client connected and disconnected, this is only available from the version 2023.10.4 version onwards. So you have to make sure that you have at least 2023.10.4 version of ESPHome such that you can use this option. Now the final bug that we have, that is a crackling of the speaker's output whenever we execute the command, the voice gets cut off in the middle. This is currently fixed and it's put into the dev branch of Home Assistant. This means that it will be available from the next release that is Home Assistant 2023.12 version. That is the December release, which will come in another 15 days. Now finally, I was working on this project wherein I wanted to create my own voice assistant, which looks really cool and really nice. So this is how it looks like. If you have been following me on X or Twitter as well as subscribed here, you must have seen the shorts wherein I have shown you this device working. So now after that, I got a lot of inquiries about how have you done this and what's the design, can we share it? I'm happy to share it with everybody, whoever wants it. It's nothing like a great design, and if anybody can use it, I would be really happy about it. So in my next video, I will show you how I did this voice assistant device, as well as I'll be using this media player type such that I can control the volume output of these speakers also. So make sure to hit that subscribe button to see once that video is out. So we just saw how we can configure this ESP32 with Home Assistant such that we can use it as a wireless voice assistant. Now I have been working on this personal project wherein I created this device as my daily driver for voice assistant with Home Assistant. So in my next video, I'll be showing you how I did this. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and also hit the like button for more such videos to come. Till then, take care and I will see you in my next one.